way of doing it. The work that Pushkar has been doing for handling the data on the cloud side is general. It doesn't matter what the source of
Right.
the
Right.
source camera is, right? So now it's just a matter of how convenient it is to talk to the Barlus camera, take its pictures and send them to the cloud, or to process them locally on the Raspberry Pi. I think that's just exploration. There's nothing that's really, you know, hard about that, really.
So if we could leverage these types of systems, then we wouldn't have to necessarily have our own camera. We could have a camera available for people
That's
to
right.
use
Yeah.
in a much simpler situation than what Gordon has right now, or let's say a home, and they're just, you remember, Pete, you and I went to that one event where they were showing just a kitchen.
Hmm.
Uh, and
Well, I'm going to
so,
show you what happens with the Barlus, right? So Barlus is made by a
yep,
group in China, and you have to go inside here, and their software isn't done very well. So there certainly is a feed. I know what the IP address is, the static and all that. So you then, and apparently there is a PTZ function. You can also turn on the lights. There's other functions on the camera. That's why it's expensive. But I can't access them on the other panel, right? The problem with this is I can't access it at all from here, right? I mean, you see no fish here. It's not written very well. There's a pan tilt zoom thing, but if I can't access it as a customer, right, then I'm really not able to enjoy it. Versus throw it back onto the Unify, right? I'm not able to do the pan tilt zoom functions, but what I can do is, and I'm not sure if that threw any kinks into this camera. See, with the other program on, it's jamming or it's creating some kind of interference, so I can't open this. Oh, now I can. All right. See how it now changed further, and then if I
Hmm.
were to um, let me go to the timeline here. This makes it more interesting, I think, if we went to the timeline and then and we were able to go. Okay, yeah. So this was 11:55. You see all the minnows there. And if we went down to, let's say, 10:55, an hour ago, and see what it does. Um, hmm. That's really interesting in the sense that this is supposed to be a live feed. Oh, here's 9:35 and 9:15. Okay. And then if I went to 8:55, oh yeah, see 8:55, the black and white one was there. We go to 8:15, half an hour earlier. Let's see. There's no feed there. 7:55 there was. You see that one there. Not sure why in some cases it's feeding and other cases it's not, but I'm just scrolling through them segmentally. And you can see by having the Ubiquity system, I can capture all of this and watch it at my own leisure. Oh, look at this. I don't know
Hmm.
what these are. See these? These guys are moving around. I don't know what these are. Whatever these are, the camera's not able to pan and
Some
using
of
this
those
software.
some of those
Right?
space drones that are hanging over New Jersey.
Right. Could be those, right? And then you go down to, you know, if only. So now what happens is the individual, like such as myself, doing the research is I would want to have a few more of these cameras, right? So I would want to have like three inside each pond so I can see them at different angles, right?
Yeah.
And then okay, and then what does it look like in the middle of the night? So 1:56 a.m. What are they doing? They're apparently still swimming. Any action here? And the camera itself lights up, right? So it lights up. It has a LED lighting system in there that you can turn on and off using their platform, but you're just not able to. This is 12:16 a.m. You're just not able to see or operate them here. And then if we go back all the way to what happened now, let's see what this is. This is live. So live would be just live. So we'll see if it streams. So it's beeping over. Um, yeah. So with this system, I found that the connection isn't always. It takes a little while. Like we just missed something massive that moved
Mhm.
over. Um, yeah, and then the lights go off. So you can't operate everything on the camera using someone else's system. So you still need yours. But when we're doing ours, we should make it robust so it doesn't have what we just experienced. And then
Yeah.
can you cast this like that's all separate, but can I cast this onto my 75-inch television at home, right? There's a brand now that's called um I think Samsung makes it's like a picture frame, right? And this
Mhm.
picture frame television allows it to look like a piece of art. So then you could connect this. Imagine if you picture framed some of what our camera does, and then you could see the bugs or see various things. Um, this is I think the algorithm we're creating, as well as what we're talking about here, is immensely interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did find that Barlus does have a PTZ camera. It starts at $8,600.
Hmm. They even have one that
So
has a wiper on it, so that you can like
yeah,
clean. Yeah. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Wow.
So maybe I'll try the $200 one, not the $8,600 one. They got one that's 300 meters, PTZ, 14,000. So hey, here's our hypothesis on those swirling lights. I bet those are dust or floating things on the surface that are reflecting from the illumination light
Oh yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
because they were following some of the same patterns that the dark spots when and from daylight were kind of floating and swirling on that surface.
Yeah. The Barluses that are for the few $100s are sold on Amazon, so you could easily pick one up. Barlus has its own website too. They're not
Yeah,
very good at writing the software. It's not very, it's just not, doesn't have a good UI to it, right?
right,
User interface. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, I will work on what I've been continuing to do is make it more robust for this, and then we should be able to pull in additional camera sources like this.
Yeah. And where you were looking at 12 megapixel, right? So there's our five.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The ceiling part of it is interesting. I suspect that they wouldn't have any trouble, for those kind of costs. They probably are at $200 retail. They're cost constrained on which camera sensor they would use.
Hmm.
But I think it's really all about the sealed container at that point. Um, that would stand in the way for something we would do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right. And then maybe even now that you see some people are doing this, you could look at who else is doing it, right? And then you can
Hmm.
see how big of the market is. I think what we have with the data, it makes it really amazing because I don't want to look through all of my videos. I just want the video where
Yeah,
XYZ fish was there. And when
yeah.
it's there, tell me, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah, Gordon, Pete was going to make a AI LinkedIn site
Hmm.
and also a YouTube site so we can place our videos out there and then
Oh
link
yeah.
to them on LinkedIn. Do you feel that's we're ready for that? Do you want to hold off on that or?
I can be ready anytime. I mean, it's building up people who like you. People who like you, you only get more and more that like you because the ones that don't like you don't stick around, right? And they might not come back. So you build up your audience on those who like you. And it's taken me a quarter of a century, right, to build up. So I don't mind where it is. I never let people tell me like, make sure the video is only 18 minutes because that's you, right? In your experience, and you didn't have anything to say. Imagine going to a concert and he said, "Oh, that $300 ticket you bought, we're only going to give you 18 minutes because we think you wouldn't be interested." We're going to cut it down from 3 hours, and you kind of just roll with it, Now, once you start though, you have to keep doing it. So that's why I have less and less time, because everyone who starts, I tell them the same thing. You have to keep doing it. Well, that means that I have to keep doing it with them, and then for better or worse. In some videos, some groups, right, only have, like, I have one kid that has one he interviews me, and for the past 6 months he's only gotten 3 viewers, right? And I oftentimes say, like, why do people need to listen to you? What are you showing them? So if we went back to the security camera, there was nothing of interest that I could show you because it's just not interesting. So we go back here, and this is a good one too, right here. Here's the dashboard. There's construction. There's nobody out in the street. There's my car. Okay, oh, that car just drove by. Oh, look how amazing that is, right? And you're just not interested. These are all live feeds. Okay, this one, nobody's here. I'm in the house, but no one's there. Here you got the tree and you have the wire, but nothing's really interesting. And then you go down here, and you've got okay, we can look at the gutters. The gutters are clean, right? So the rear driveway, and then you look at this one. Wow. In fact, all the things that we just looked at didn't have the same fish, the same time. Wildlife, looking for these things. Or when I showed you when the raccoons came, right? That was interesting because you want to see what they did. But you don't really want, like, even this panel with the fish becomes not as interesting when, all right, I'm not interested in the minnows here. I'm interested in the koi. So just tell me when you're ready, and signal me. That would be great, right? And by the way, since this is upside down, is there software that can make it right side up without me having to stick my hand in the cold water and making this right? There probably is, right? Yeah, but they don't have it here. They don't have it here.
So one thing that's been going on, Gordon, I'm sure you've been reading in the news, is there's an upswing in avian flu,
Yes, yes. Oh yeah,
and
the
price
yeah.
of eggs are going really high again.
You remember that, right? I told you about this going to happen in the future kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So here we go. I think we can, one of our, when we get the website up and we can start doing the chicken thing again, because we have it. We can actually show that, and explain to people why you have to protect your chickens again, and then why you have to monitor them because they'll eat their eggs. So I think it's an opportunity to put that back out there. And then
Yeah,
you're definitely going to relate it back to the price of eggs and say, hey, if everyone had this and they were protecting the chickens and the eggs, your prices would not go as high. And so, you know, it would just be a way or to educate people, and then maybe they can take action too, right?
right.
Go back to the chicken farmers and say, buy this stuff, or we can't afford your $10 a basket eggs.
Oh yeah. Look at the amount of algae that's in the pond, right? But look how clear the water is. And then you could talk about that. It's just like talking about chickens. It's look at that chicken.
Yeah.
After nesting in there, it always has to take the same nest. It's waiting there and it pecks the other chickens that try to do it. I think that fish has an itch, or it's actually trying to look at us. Look how close it came to us, right?
Mhm.
So,
No, you're right. You would have the chickens to be looking at, right? So it's
right,
something to
right.
look at, right?
Yeah. I don't have the chickens anymore, so I ended that research because it was just like I did what I needed to do. Um, in the world of regenerative, the word regenerative. If you looked up regenerative and my name on Google, you'd see Google recognizes me as having. Oh, by the way, this is a an algae eater. This is this one, and so is the other one, and you could never see them because they don't surface. But with the camera, you can see,
Yeah.
wow, I can see what I have. And same thing with chickens. Like if you needed to see what you have and what's really going on, there's a lot that goes on in the chicken world.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially if you have a hit like a camera that they get used to it and you start detecting things. You need that AI assist to. I don't know if you read this too. Is that a lot of people understand AI as like the chat bots and things like that, right? But the AI assist side, the assistant is going to be the big thing. And what we're doing here is we're creating an assistant. I see Pete nodding his head. You
Yep,
know,
that's great.
this assistant is a fun assistant, not not these other assistants that are just workhorses, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So anyway, I think that using this lesson here, we're, seeing live action and interesting action, and then having the chicken thing, with people can see what's going on.
You think fish
A
can
lot,
feel
a
us?
lot
Because
better.
look, they're as we're talking more with them, they're coming closer to the camera, right? Yeah. And we can even see the underbody of some fish. Maybe I should just leave it the way it is because then I could see more interesting things.
You
Yeah.
you can do an experiment and change it and see if you get a different perspective, but this looks like a fun one.
Yeah. Yeah, right? And really, imagine if you had a camera that you like this and that before you go fishing, right? And you install this, right? And then now you cast and you see if anybody's there, right? And you avoid the Wi-Fi issues because it's all in line, right? So you go and these oh look, see that this is the algae eater. Look at how
Yep.
close he's gotten, right? So yeah, this is and I haven't fed them in 4 months, so they're just
Hmm.
living off of the ecosystem.
Okay.
Yeah. So chickens, I
Hmm.
mean, what goes on in the chicken world of arguments? Do they peck each other? Do they lead to injury? Who is on the pecking order? You'll be able to tell that from the visuals.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I wonder, hey Pete, so would we be able to discern, I'll call it bad action? Like if a chicken was pecking something, other chicken, and we would then say the red black chicken is an aggressor.
I think if we just go with normal ML modeling techniques, then it's a matter of what training data do we accumulate to look for certain patterns,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, okay, because if if you just had the view of all the chickens, the human could look at it and eventually discern that that black chicken is pretty nasty.
Hmm.
But they have to sit there and look at it, right? Until that chicken becomes active in a bad way. So if the imaging can tell you that this guy is doing the naughty naughty, and you're
I
saying,
mean, I've thought for the past couple of years since I really started looking at this a few years ago, um, curation of training data and then test data is just this enormous opportunity. Right? You have to be able to curate that to really show that adding another training data chunk improves the model's performance versus taking away from it, right? If you overtrain it, then you might lose generality. So I think that was my conclusion for some time. And I think that's exactly this is how do you find the right pieces to train from and test that? Right now it seems to be fairly compute intensive to know whether your outcome model is improved as a result of adding or changing the data that's used to train it. I don't know, Pushkar, do you keep current with some of the state of the art for how that evaluation is made?
Um, I I haven't looked at the research paper recently, but I'll definitely look at them.
Okay.
Been a little bit away from machine learning, uh, but yeah, I'll look at that for sure.
It's like we say, hey, we're looking for eggs, and so we get to a certain point of training
Mhm.
on that where it doesn't get any better, right? Well, how do you know that
Right.
it's like a gradient improvement
Mhm.
for the results of the result model. It tails off, and sometimes I could even see it be
Right.
decreased by overtraining.
Mm.
So that's an interesting problem all by itself. And I admit I have not kept up with it. I just recognize like, oh, that seems like a pretty serious challenge. And it's probably part of the art of the AI ML world now is how do you know when it's good enough?
Hey, you guys, in about a couple months, I'm going to be going to a friend of mine. He's a good friend, and he's turning 60 years old, and I'm invited to his party. And he has chickens, and he has told me that his chickens eat his eggs, their eggs.
Oh,
And so I'd like to
Hmm.
maybe if we could, he's a PhD from Princeton. He's like this guy's, just a super genius. And so if I could get him to, I'm 100% certain he would be very interested in this.
it'd be cool. Yeah,
It's
that'd
I'm
be a
amazing
wondering
great.
what we're
if,
seeing right now. I mean, you're seeing these fish coming real close,
right.
right? And yeah, there's real serious action here. I mean, what you'd see with chickens eating eggs is you'd see stuff you've never seen before. Your mind would be blown. You'd learn something very, very different. I mean, if we were selling the Barlus right now, the Barlus people would be buying this, right? Because they would say, "Oh, I already invested in all this. I want to know more." Now, with
Mhm.
Pete, do we need a 12 MP or can the 5 megapixel be good enough?
Well, I think the whole range of camera resolutions and lens qualities are going to be useful. And I think
Hmm.
it'll be a matter of how does somebody want to install a system.
Right. I mean, the
So I think
ring
we
just, I hate the ring now because it's everything's just blurry. What am I looking
mhm,
at, right? Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think getting out of that kind of a closed ecosystem and into something where like what we're trying to do, which is commodity hardware, pick some of the nicer ones, but also be able to use very inexpensive devices.
Hmm.
That's a strategy for selling a service, better than trying to lock everybody into buying your hardware and then, keeping them captive.
Right. Right. I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm, neat. I've got to head out pretty soon.
Yeah.
Are there any other agenda items, Bart?
No, that's it.
That's great. I'll
I
see you
think we
guys in
should,
the new year then.
yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
See
Happy New Year.
you next week.
All right.
Take
Okay.
care.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.